All right, we're back continuing the testing of the SIRIO MONSOON. We're currently on a 2950DX. We're going to check the power and SWR on a external meter. Um, Now, I've put this up against my birds to see how close it is, and it's within a half a watt on the 10 watt scale, and within 2 to 3 watts on a 100 watt scale. But we're going to be concentrating on the 10 watt scale. We're going to start with the power all the way down on the 2950. We're 10 watt scale. Also frequency counter in line as well. So we're about a half a watt. I'm going to bring it up, and you'll see that frequency counter kick in. And we're up to about 5 watts, and we'll continue to bring it up. We're at full output power. It's about 9 watts. So we're on channel 1. Let's check the SWR. We're going to calibrate it. Okay, stand by. Channel 1 SWR, full output, approximately 9 watts, 2950. You can see the meter actually drops, if that's possible. Let's go to 40. We're going to check output power first. Oh, what happened here? Oh. We dimmed it. Okay, we're on channel 40. We're going to go to output power first. 10 watt scale. Over to 10 mark. We're going to go to 100 watt scale. Still reading that top scale. 1's going to be 10. Or about 14. Let's go to SWR. Calibrate. Channel 40 SWR. Same thing. Meter's actually dropping. It's like a perfect tune on this meter. Let's see what the radio says on SWR. So with this, it's just a very simple push of the button. There's no tuning with these. And again, we're checking it at full output power, approximately 14 watts. So we're going to be looking at that bar graph. And we have no bars. Let's go to channel 1. Okay, we're on channel 1. SWR, full output power. Bar graph, no bars. So the radio and this external meter are in agreement as far as the SWR reading goes. And let's just take a look at that frequency counter. We're at 26965. Radio's right on. I'm going to scroll up to 40. Well, let's stop it at 205 halfway through. Let's go up to 40. Checking frequency. 405. Radio's right on. I'm very impressed with this antenna so far. Had no issues. We did have some weather. No change in regards to SWR, which is always a plus. Some people say that when they get rain or water on their antenna, their SWR changes slightly. That's very common, unless it's going haywire. No reason to panic over it. And we got some skip rolling in. I'm just going to dial that power back into a 10-watt scale. And I like to set the radio around 1.5, 2 watts. What I do is I drive that into a single transistor modulator. I'll show you guys that in a second here. So right now it's hooked up to a Texas Star modulator V plus. It's got a single 2290. This one happens to have the Toshiba 2290, and it does on PEP. It's doing about $1.10 to $1.20, and we're driving that into a Fat Boy straight 4-pill, all Toshibas. These happen to be red dots. I typically run it at 14 volts now. Anybody that's used Toshibas over the years or knows anything about them, you can run them. People run them 15, 16 volts all day long. As long as your SWR is good, you're not going to harm the transistor. As long as you're not overdriving it, oversaturating it. What I typically do is I'll dead key the 4-pill at 100 watts RMS, and I'll let it swing up from there. That gives me about 1,000 watts of PEP with that modulator. So I'm not hammering, the modulator or the 4-pill. We're dead keying at 25 watts, per transistor, and then letting it swing up from there. And there's room for it to go higher. The gain is there. And we're not swinging backwards. We're not oversaturating it. It's doing what it's supposed to do. With this radio, you could dead key that amplifier and get 100 watts with just a radio. You're going to lose on the overall output. The PEP is going to drop significantly because you're not swinging to 110 to 120. This radio only swings about 30 to 35 watts. So you're talking about a 65 watt difference in swing into that 4-pill. So that's the reason for the drop there. I do have 2 bird meters in line. One is in reverse with a 5-watt element in it. And then over here, I have a 1,000-watt slug. Both meters have PEP kits installed in them. So we're talking 1, 2, 3 meters in line, as well as the frequency counter. I don't know how anybody can run power through their station without having meters in line before and after your amplifier. God forbid you have an issue, you're not going to find out about it right away, and you're going to end up smoking something. You gotta have a meter in reflect. I can't stress enough to have that meter in reflect to show you what's coming back. And then also your output. If you blow a transistor, you're going to see it in that output meter, the last and final meter before the antenna. And then, having a meter right at the radio, again, besides the reflect meter, is going to show you if you have an issue right there, right at the radio. So the way I have this wired is we come out of the radio, okay? We come out, and from there, we go right in to the frequency counter, out of the frequency counter into this external meter. From there, let me backtrack. I'm sorry, out of the radio, and we're going into a low pass filter. Out of the low pass, into the frequency counter, into the external meter, into the bird and reflect. Out of that bird, we come down into the modulator. Let me get you guys some light here. Out of the modulator, right into the 4-pill. Out of the 4-pill into that final bird in PEP. And then, like I said, it's about 33 to 39 feet of coax. And look how many connectors we have in between the start of the system and the end. And how much are we actually losing? I've done it where I went straight to the antenna. We're talking about 2 to 3 watts. That's it. If your connectors are soldered on properly, they're good connectors. They're not junk. Spend the money on good connectors. And I make my own jumpers. I solder my own connectors because too many times I've seen absolutely atrocious, and I mean atrocious, solder work out there. So if you have the skill and the know-how and you have the tools to do it, make your own connections. Put your own connectors on. You know, if you're doing it yourself, you know what the solder work looks like. You know how much heat was applied. You could test it yourself for continuity, for loss and all that stuff. But you got to have the proper tools to do so. But again, I got to say, how anybody runs power through their station without meters in line, you're taking a risk. You're taking a big risk. You're not going to know if you have a problem, and you're going to end up smoking your amplifier or smoking your radio or damaging both. It's a fact. And I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that have already done so. Now, as far as grounding goes, outside, 8-foot ground rod, number 6 wire, going up to the mast, connections via a water ground clamp. And then down here, and some of you are probably going to disagree, and that's fine, to each your own. Have the main ground coming into that lug there. And I have another ground lug up here. Individual ground to the modulator, to the amplifier, to my rig runner. Grounding is important. And there's a lot of people that are going to disagree as far as grounding goes, as far as coax cable lengths go, as far as jumper lengths go. Let's talk about jumpers for a second here. Always a hot topic. Now, this is just my opinion, and my opinion only, as far as jumpers go, from your meter or your radio or wherever you're coming out of to the modulator, I use nothing less than a 6-foot jumper. All my jumpers are 6 foot. I don't never use 3s, and I don't use 9s or 12s. I have found that 6-footers have given me the best results. And yes, does it change your SWR? People are going to argue this back and forth. Look, are you tricking meters? Yeah, sure, that's a very good possibility. But if you're getting the same reading on a meter, on a tuner, it doesn't change, then I think it's safe to say that it's right on. I like these topics. I think they're great for discussion. Love some feedback and comments. No arguments as far as coax length goes. Again, my opinion, 6-footers, no less. As far as the mobile goes, same thing. I use 6-footers. I run a SIRIO antenna on the mobile as well. And what I did is with the mag mount, they send it to you with like RG58. I'm not too fond of that, especially if you're running power through it. What I did is I removed it and I replaced it with LMR 240 UF. Um, Everything comes in metrics because it's coming from Europe. I stuck with the 18-foot magic number, and SWRs are flat, 1 through 40. I run a Cobra 29, and I run that into a 1x4. Again, all Toshiba box. Um, I have a bird line section, dual line section hooked up on the output side of the amplifier, and I have that hooked up to a unicorn Dave made digital bird meter. And as far as PEP goes, again, I keep the dead key at 100 watts, and we're getting that magic 1,000 to 1,100 magic number. No issues. Been running it that way for years. Let you guys take a quick look here. Mr. Snowman on the Jersey Shore. I love my Cobra 29s. Another quick topic. When you're running power, you gotta have variable output on your radio. It's a must. It's a must. It allows you to tune your amplifier for the correct amount of output. If you go slamming some of these amplifiers with 4 watts and they're low input, you're gonna run into a problem. Every radio here in the shack has variable output power. Not a single one does not have it. It's a must. If you're not capable of installing it yourself, send it to a good tech. There's plenty of good techs out there that aren't looking to rip you off. You know, they're not going to do stuff that you don't need or you didn't ask for. You know, they're out there, guys. There's a lot of good ones out there. Brian Smith from Truck CB Sales. 350 Radio. These guys they're good techs. As far as amplifiers go, you got 1,000,001 amplifier builders out there. I'm not even going to get into that topic. If somebody doesn't know how to build an amplifier at this point in the game, there's so many guys out there copying from Dave. Dave made back in the 80s. The original Jersey Dave made. Come on, guys. Let's be serious. If you can't build a simple 4-pill amplifier in 2024, and you claim to be a tech, you're full of it. Full of it. All right, that's enough for now. Let's get some comments going.